Welcome to 954 Miles of Conversation podcast, where we explore boundless conversation 1 mile at a time. I am your host, William T. Vaughn, out of San Antonio, Texas. My co-host is Christy McDonald, out of Omaha, Nebraska. We got two special guests tonight, Greg Mobley from Little Rock, Arkansas, and Angelica Young from Little Rock, Arkansas. Tonight podcast is going. The title will be "Sanctified but Never Satisfied in Relationships," and we have a doozy tonight. And before we get started, my father used to talk about when he was when I was a young boy. He used to talk about all the time about how women. He used to say women were sanctified, but they never were satisfied. I never understood that as a young boy. So when I got older, I started realizing maybe also men are not satisfied in relationship, and we may think we're so sanctified as well. So I think it goes both ways. But today, my co-host, we had a real good conversation back and forth all day long, talking about this show, how everything was going to play out. So I'm looking forward to basically turning everything over to her and let her ask some questions and hear what they got to say and the feedback from their experiences. So, Christy, I'll turn it over to you.
And before we get started, I'm going to have everybody, if you're not talking, to go ahead and mute your mic. But I do have a question for you really quickly, and I'm going to start with our host. My first question is, what is your relationship status?
Oh, my relationship status. I am currently dating, and I'm involved with a young lady. I didn't think that I would be doing that at this particular time, no time soon. But I found someone who came back into my life from years and years ago that I wasn't anticipating. So sometimes God make your mishaps and bless you in a way that you didn't even think that you were getting blessed. So I'm happy that we have connected in a friendship and a relationship that we want to build up on. So we really talk about that on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, before I even got on the show, I had a discussion with her about this show as well as everything else that we've been talking about. So I'm in a relationship. Yeah.
All right, Angelica, what is your relationship status?
My current relationship status is divorced. I've been divorced. It'll be a year in about 1 month.
That's excellent. And Greg, can you tell us your relationship status?
All right. I am in a relationship of 4 years, been divorced. Went on 9 years, 9 years divorced. Married 23 and a half years. But I'm in a long-term relationship of 4 years at this present time.
All right, and I have been married for 21 years. So we're going to dive right in. We're not going to waste any time. And my first question is for Angelica. Do you find that people in unsatisfied relationships with people who are sanctified but never satisfied? And you want me to repeat that? Because I probably said that wrong. So I'm going to repeat it. Do you find that people in unsatisfied relationships are with people who are sanctified but never satisfied?
Well, let me start by saying that there are people who are in relationships with people that are sanctified but never satisfied. But the person they're in the relationship with, they don't even know that part.
Mm.
They don't know that part because they haven't explored deep enough to find out what's even going on with that partner or that spouse. To very frankly answer the question, I will speak from a personal note of saying that in my 21-year marriage, I was always exploring whether or not the partner was satisfied. Because you come in, you are embracing everything about the person. And as you're embracing that, you are also trying to figure out whether or not the pieces are fitting together. And so sometimes things would, fire on all cylinders, and then sometimes things would not fire on all cylinders. So I was wondering, where we were on the satisfaction level. So then on my side, to speak to that, I would be the person who was definitely trying to do everything I could to live up to what the expectation of marriage was that was not verbalized to me, but just trying to do what I could in order to make sure I was doing everything to make the marriage work.
That's really good. And
Can I ask a
no,
question?
go ahead, please.
That was some good stuff. That was good. Angelica, let me ask you something. Did you ever take, and I'm going off myself here too. Did you ever take any classes on relationships? How to be a girlfriend, how to be a wife? Did you ever take any classes?
I read information. I made an attempt, as people should, to do some premarital counseling. And red flag number one, if they're not willing to do premarital counseling, don't get married.
Ooh.
That's just from my personal experience, just a personal note there.
So premarital counseling before marriage is a red flag.
Yes.
Okay.
If they're not willing to just take that step in order to even look at what marriage is supposed to look like. So to answer your question, no, I did not go to any classes. I read some information that I received from a spiritual counselor.
Okay. Okay.
Reason being, the partner was not willing to attend the premarital counseling.
Wow. Interesting.
I
Okay.
do like that. That was interesting. And I'm gonna give the second question to Greg. And Greg, I was reading somewhere today, uh, the eyes of man are never satisfied because man craves anything other than God. So my question for you is, do you find that people who are sanctified but never satisfied are people who possess the tendencies of a user? Do you want me to repeat that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe that. I believe that you run into relationships and then all of a sudden things change when you get down to the nitty gritty of life. I think that you come across people that are, excuse me, I didn't pronounce this word, narcissists. That's real. A new word has popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Narcissist.
Yeah.
People who take advantage of you by manipulating you and words and telling you this is what you need to do, this is how you need to be it, this is how you need to be, and this and that. And they're looking at somebody else and they want you to be this way. They're looking at their vision of what they want. And they want to tell you how to do this way, but don't want to work toward that goal. That is a part of Sanctified. I know what I'm talking about. This is what you need to do, is how you need to do it. And we're going to move this way, but it didn't make any sense, you know. An example, in my marriage, it was the fact that I was just invested in my career, and all of a sudden we need to leave and we can move to Florida. Okay, no. Well, but is this the best thing to do for us? We build our relationship with our kids and everything. We move to Florida. We can be on the beach and all this stuff and all that. No, I'm invested, so I'm gonna stay here. I got to stay here and handle my business for my family. So that right there is not satisfied about your marriage and your relationship and your family. That's what I went through. So I just think that is a part of situations and dysfunctionalism in marriages.
I'm going to add to that. I think Greg hit something there for me. I think when you don't get your way in a marriage, you do not get your way in a marriage. And it's like that kid. I didn't get the ball first, so the ball belongs to me. I should be bouncing it, and you need to play with my jacks. I ain't playing with your jacks if it doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna play with your jacks if you're gonna be disrespectful to me. I don't want to play with your jacks because as long as you finna be disrespectful to me, I find that there's no need for me to be there if you're gonna be disrespectful to me. And I think sometimes people always says, "Well, people do change," but they don't change that quick to the point to where it's less than I know Greg was married for 20 some years, but in my last marriage, I wasn't married that long at all whatsoever, and so I don't think that I changed from the time I moved from Omaha to San Antonio. I don't think I changed. I think I was still the same consistent business minded person, but I was told that I changed, and I'm trying to figure out why I changed. Trying to make me think that I changed, but I didn't change. And so sometimes you're right. People want to play word games and mind games with you to make you think that you have the issue, but you don't. It's really them, and they just don't want to come to conclusion with that and deal with that monster that within inside them. So I agree with what Greg is saying. So with that aspects of it, that's my thought on it.
And this question is for anybody. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship with someone who presented themselves as sanctified, but they were never satisfied? You could never do enough. They were just never satisfied. No matter what you did, they just weren't satisfied. I mean, you could give them you felt like you were giving them the world, but they still complained day after day. I've heard some men say, if they just, what was it? If they cook and they just get behind me, if they're in the kitchen, the best looking thing is their mother was in the kitchen in a slip, was it? That was attractive. So, with that said, I'm going to repeat the question. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship, and anyone can answer, where this person was sanctified, but no matter what you did, they were never satisfied?
Yes. Yes.
Come on, dive into it.
I will just say, like you just said, and as I really think about it, it was like, there was a hint of satisfaction, but every time you reach that mark, then they would move the bar. So it was like, you're here and that's good right now. But then in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, oh no, you need to be here. So if you cooked a good meal and it was meat and potatoes, then the next time you need to have meat, potato salad. Well, then that's not good enough. You need to add 2 vegetables. Oh, well, what about dessert? I mean, you could never meet the bar because the bar was always moving.
I'm gonna say for me, I like that. But I'm gonna say for me, I'm thinking about my 20s and my 30s, how I used to, um, I would prejudge women on some based off on something that I went through, and I would always have this self conscious that says, okay, I'm gonna only go so far. I'm allowed it to go here, and I was like, okay, that's it. I got to get away from. 'Em. I got to get away from. 'em. So I would do that in my 20s and my 30s and probably even in my early 40s until I got to the point to where found that that was not healthy for myself or with those particular females that I was dealing with at that particular time. So I was that person that wasn't satisfied. I'm gonna be honest and say that. And I think sometimes you got to take accountability for yourself. So I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't honest with them. I should have been more honest with them and told them up front. And I, even though I kind of told them up front what what I expected from them and what I wanted from them, and even though at that particular time I was called a man whore, but yeah, I still was honest about it. So I was an honest man whore. Okay. So at that particular time, so I am going to initiate something tonight. I'm going to apologize to those that I dated in my 20s, 30s. I'm gonna apologize to them. Say, hey, I'm sorry if I offended anyone that I've dated thus far, and to this day. I apologize for that, and I hope you all forgive me. But I'm a different person. I'm not the same as I was in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and my 50s are changing as well. So I'm not the same. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, Greg, that only leaves you. So I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Have you ever been with somebody that presents as sanctified, but they are never satisfied, no matter what you do?
Yes, I have, and um, it's frustrating. It makes you feel like you're less of a man when you worked your butt off for someone and you're giving them everything you got. You work 2 and 3 jobs and halfway sleeping 3 and 4 hours of sleep just to provide, and then for your family and your kids, and then you're gonna give extra to your spouse and give them what they need. And then, well, I don't want to work. I'm hurting here, and my back hurt. I don't think I need to work, and I need to be with the kids. And then they give you this story, and then you okay, go ahead. I can take this other job, and I take that. At the end, it breaks you down. It breaks a man down where, you know, things the devil try to get in your head, but you say, I don't want to be on 2020 to 5 more years from now, and I'm locked up in jail somewhere, state line, because that's what happens. And so you just have to keep on pushing and pray about it and keep moving. And it affects a lot of men, a lot of good men out here. And they tear down good men. When I say they tear down good men, the next woman in line is gonna get the worst of it because that man's still dealing with that issue of working hard for someone. And then all of a sudden they still dealing with the slap in the face and what they have worked hard for. So yeah, I've been in that before, and I don't want to ever have to go through that again. I don't think I will, but I think we all are not satisfied to a certain extent. I think we all, as a man, as me, I want, at this age I'm in, I want teamwork. This is not just love, it's business. It's about going from 55 to death.
Mm.
And when I say that, because we're going to deal with some real struggles in the end. So we got to have somebody you can depend on and have the unity, the structure, the grit, the grind that got your back and you got their back and helping each other. It's like, example, if I get stuck on the toilet, please, can you come get me out the toilet? I can't move my legs. I ain't coming in there. You just using me and do the best you can. Now I need you in here. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at that. All that pretty stuff go out the window. You got to give me somebody. I got you, baby. Come on now. Can you help me wipe it? I ain't going there. But you know what I'm saying? We got to have
Amen.
and that comes with that. And people got to be in reality. Your mate and somebody got to be with you thick and thin.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that.
I like that too. So I'm going to ask this question, but Greg, I think you've answered it. So maybe not so much for you. But now that we've talked about those people that you found yourself in that relationship with, once you freed yourself from the hold of a sanctified but never satisfied person, will the next person you date have the same tendencies? Or did you evolve and say, you know what, I don't want that anymore. I'll never deal with that again. But now remember, if the person that you with have some of those same tendencies, you could be the problem. You probably really didn't evolve. But I'm going to ask anyway, because I think y'all have evolved. But I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So, once again, once you have freed yourselves from the hold of the sanctified but never satisfied person, will the next person you date have the same tendencies, or did you evolve? Angelica, you want to start with? You want to start? You want to kick us off?
I'll kick us off, and I will say that with the partner that I had, it was a situation where there were more than just the one red flag that I mentioned. And so, definitely in any future relationship, I will take heed to those red flags, number one, and run if they get past one. Run in the opposite direction.
So you never barefoot. You got the tennis shoes on, right?
Exactly. I got my grip shoes on. My grip shoes are gripped. So yes, I would definitely take heed to what I learned. The other thing that I learned that is vital is making sure that even though the person may, but nudge you, because I'm not going to say remind, but would put down these nuggets of, well, you don't want to talk about what goes on here outside the home, and you don't have to call somebody to, bounce things off of them. We got this. We grown. No, you don't. You better call somebody, talk to somebody, and fill that out when they start telling you, well, no, it's probably not going to be a good idea if you do that, because if you do that, that may keep us from doing something, because I lost individuality. So I will feel things out, as well as if they get past red flag number one, I'm out.
Okay. I'm gonna piggyback off of that because I like how she said that. She said she's out. She's already gonna run if they come across one red flag.
Run with her real sneakers on.
Yeah, she's running with some tennis shoes on. She's getting up.
Real ones. Yeah.
I have godparents in Arkansas, and I gotta give a shout out to Panky and Nathan Fails, and Panky Fails, I call her Mama Fails. She has this tendency to always tell me the worldly part of what I was always go through in a relationship. But Papa Fail would always give me the spiritual side. And this is how she would say it. She said, go on in there with your dad and let him give you that Bible. When you get through with that, come over here and I'm going to give you the truth. Okay? And she would give it to me the hard cut way. Okay? When I say hard cut way, she wasn't sparing no punches on me. She went into me. She said, boy, you good. You have a good heart. You will give the shirt off your back, but you just can't pick no woman. I don't know why you can't pick these women. And these women attract you. They attract to you. They figure that you are a giving person. And then next thing they know, they get what they can get out of you, and then they go. And she shared that with me. She shared that with me. And when she started sharing that with me, and don't get me wrong, I cried. I cried about it. But when she told me the truth of who I was as a person, she said, do not give up on love. Do not give up on trying to change who you are, because that's who you are. That's how God made you. If they can't accept you who you are, then fine. You will find someone that will come to you that's going to be identical to you and your helpmate. Okay? So I'm not attracting the same thing no more. I'm not attracting it no more. I just can't attract it no more. I put this shield up. And so when I put that shield up, and Chrissy, you can bounce to I have said some things about, I ain't messing around with no more black women and all that. I've said some crazy stuff. And I admitted at the time, I ain't apologizing for it. Yeah, I said it. But now I'm eating those words because God has blessed me with something that I didn't think
Eating
was
them.
coming to me. And so I'm like, whoa, I didn't see this one coming.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see this one coming. So don't change who you are. You don't change who you are. If you got those people that's attracted to you and and they show you them red flags, you're right. Angelica, run. Keep on running from them. Keep on running from them. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna still be who I am. I'm gonna still be that giving person, and I'm gonna go from there.
Well, Greg, you're not done. We have a few more minutes to get you to, answer the question. So you didn't really dodge the bullet. Inquiring minds want to know.
I was sitting up here reading something, and something came to my mind. I'm old school, and I've been around old school people that do some things. And I was reading the lyrics to Marvin Gaye song. Excuse me, Al Green. No, Marvin Gaye song. Excuse me, Marvin Gaye song. I don't know why I said Al Green. Marvin Gaye song, "Sanctified Lady." And I'm trying to find out where Dad Vaughn was talking about sanctified, and I've heard it before through my uncles say the same thing during that era. As a kid, didn't know what they're talking about, but we know when we got grown, we were going through hard times in life. We're like, dang, sanctified lady, she's sanctified but never satisfied. And I heard that me and Terrell talked about this before. We heard this through our elders. So I'm looking at the words, and it says what every man wants: a sanctified woman, a lady who don't lie, who just straight up to the point that she's God fearing, everything. And I can go through a whole lot of stuff. There's some things in here I ain't know he said, but boy, that Marvin Gaye was something. He said some words. A girl who wants a sanctified pee. Ooh, good to me. A sanctified lady let me conscience free. A sanctified. I don't want to go no farther. I don't get nobody excited. Okay? But Marvin Gaye hit it right. We all as men.
He said some grown-up stuff.
But I think we need to turn it around and say we want a sanctified lady, but we want her to be satisfied with the man she's with. That's what we want the satisfaction is. Not the images, not the material things, not somebody else that she's desiring in the fantasy. We want her to be sanctified and satisfied with the man she's with. And I think we have that with women. We just got to give them in the right manner to those women, and stir them the right way so they can feel comfortable and say, "I want me a sanctified man." You know what I'm saying? So looking at these lyrics, but I'm gonna send it to everybody over here. I'm gonna send it to y'all. Say, "Ooh, I ain't really heard that. Let me go back and get that Marvin Gaye." Marvin Gaye was a book bellboy in there.
So you saying Marvin Gaye really gave us the antidote back then? We just didn't pay attention to the lyrics.
You muted, Greg, but that's okay. I'm singing a song in my head while he's muted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you need to listen to this. I'm reading it, and I'm gonna send all of y'all. This is a monster. But I think that's what God wants to have, is that sanctified woman with everything the man desires. And the woman needs to be sanctified and satisfied with the man that she's with. I don't think in this day and time nobody's satisfied about anything. Not the new generation. I think I'm more satisfied now in my life to be content, and I want somebody next to me that can hold me up, a kickstand. Somebody can be my person to hold me. I don't want a crutch. I don't want somebody to hold me up supportingly. Just tell me, "Hey, you're doing good. Keep on doing what you're doing, so I can make you better." So when somebody talk to you and tell you these things, you making them better. You work hard to make them better. So I think that's what we need in life: a sanctified woman, a sanctified man.
So sanctified but satisfied. Okay. Got nothing else.
You good, Chrissy?
I'm good.
Okay. Before we close tonight, I want to tell you all thank you for coming on the show. Number one, thank you for giving your time to this podcast. This is our second episode of 954 Miles of Conversation. We're looking for real people to come on here and tell their stories of their life. We're not trying to hold back what happened to us personally. As you can see tonight, I shared some things already about my life, and I have a lot of more stories about my life that I want to share. through these podcasts. So I got a lot of stories that I can share through these podcasts of my experience in relationships, marriage, working, or whatever it may be. So we're gonna do a closing wrap up, and so Christy will go last. Angelica, you can say your piece.
Yes. As a wrap up, I would like to just point out that when you have someone who is sanctified and they so sanctified that they're separated from reality, then that's a key right there that they're not going to be satisfied.
Mm, amen.
Because
Mm,
they're so sanctified, separated from reality.
yeah.
So
Wow.
it's going to be difficult to find some satisfaction because they're not operating in reality.
Mm, I like that. I like that. Greg, you muted.
I said that's a good researching material that you pulled out. And I know people like that. They so sanctified that they out they're away from reality of life. So
Correct.
I
I
think that's
researched that for about 21 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, you can do your closing. You can do your closing.
well. I'm thankful for being here, and what are words I can help someone else to move forward in their life, in relationships. I'm grateful for that, but I just think that we need to be more mindful and be more attentive to others. We got to add to people's lives, not take from people's lives. And I've been a victim of being taken from, not just one, several. But I believe in adding to someone's life, And I like in relationships. If your lady is a man, if your lady is cooking, then get over there and wash the dishes. You know what I'm saying? If you got the bed last, make it up, make it look good. We got to be a team in everything we do. And if we don't have team, then you don't have anything. So I just feel like we just have to be mindful of those things in relationships.
Okay, thank you. Christy, I'm gonna let my co-host. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Me and my co-hosts go back and forth on a regular basis every day. We talk 4 or 5 times a day, maybe sometimes longer, and we do go back and forth. And I say some things to her, but and deep down inside, I respect her. I care about her. She's a good friend of mine, and I wouldn't throw her away for nobody. Okay, and if she was in a lion's cage, if she was in the lion's cage and I had to put on some pork chop drawers to go get them, I'll go get them. Okay? I'll go get them. Okay? So, Kristen, give us your wrap up, baby. Give us your wrap up.
You know, I'm so glad you talked about pork chops and meat because I want to wrap up with meat. I was listening to something today, and meat stands for protect, uh, money, energy, attention, and time. So I had to turn on my light so I can see I'm a little older. So, money, energy, attention, and time, meat. If you give up all your money easily, she's going to use you until you don't have any more. Your energy is everything. Women don't give men energy, they deplete it. Attention is what they thrive on. That's her currency. Time is everything. If you give your time away, you don't have time for the other things in your life that are important. Now, I said that from a man's perspective, but it can also go for women. And of course, lastly, you guys said you didn't double back on anything, but I'm just going to give you this last final remarks. Don't keep doing the same old toxic shit over and over and over again, thinking that you're going to get a different result. Because you already know you're going to get the same old toxic behavior that you're trying to avoid. So, with that said, you don't want someone who is too sanctified but never satisfied. And in the words of Jill Scott, I don't know about you, but I know about me. I'm living my life like it's golden. And that's all I got.
Thank you,
Me
Kristen. Thank you,
too.
Kristen. Before we close out, I got to give a couple shout outs. Thank you all for the reviews that you gave us for the introduction show. We really appreciate that. We took those things into heart. We want to continue for you all to give us reviews of these shows for us to get better, for us to get better with hosting as well as getting the message out there and getting people messages that can help them and possibly guests. And if you want to be a guest on this show, please, if you see the email strolling down at the bottom, please email us. And if you got something that you want to talk about, you can contact us, and if we can think we can make a show, we'll make it work for you. We're that type of show. We want to put those people that you don't think that have a story, but they do have a story. That postman, that Amazon, that UPS worker, even that homeless person on the street. I even got a story about that. So anything like that, we want to put it out there and showcase it and spread some knowledge of it, and see can we help anyone that want to be helped. For my brother Jeremy Neal, I want to thank him personally, a brother from Psi Alpha. He has a podcast called Untapped. If you ever go out on YouTube, look up Untapped, brother Jeremy Neal. But he's been very instrumental on me getting this podcast started, getting it going. So I truly grateful for his support and his knowledge of podcasts and getting me started and going from there. And to my counselor, who I never thought that I had to go to a counselor before. But my counselor, when I was going to a counselor, says to me, William, you have stories. Put them out there and talk about them. People will love your stories because you tell them so well. And they're funny. And they think they jokes, but they are true stories. And one day I'll tell you about the kitchen sink. Then another story. Okay. Another story. With that, thank you for viewing, and thank you for listening to 954 Miles of Conversation. Peace out.